welcome to our special campaign series on We the People, Every Woman's Battle. For the last 1 month, we have focused on the issues that relate not just to the safety of women in our country, but also how we as a people look at women, how we as a people look at young girls, how we as a people bring up not just our daughters, but our sons. After a month, I think, of national outrage and anger and grief, we finally have some reason to hope. The Justice Verma led 3-member committee, of which 2 very eminent members are with us here in the studio, Gopal Subramanian and Justice Leela Seth. Both of them are here to take questions from a young audience, because it was, as the committee acknowledged, the protest and the voice of the young that really brought about this inflection point in history. It is a far-reaching report, it is liberal, it is humane, it is compassionate, and it acknowledges many elephants in the room. And on We the People today, we're asking whether the government would finally respond with both sensitivity and promptness. Gopal Subramanian, if I may start with you. The ball is clearly in the government's court. You have submitted this report in a record 29 days. So I imagine neither of you have slept very much at all. Are you happy with the response you've got from the government thus far? Because somehow one would have imagined that it would have been at the highest level of government that this report would have been received by the Prime Minister himself. Instead, this report was submitted to the Home Ministry, giving it a sort of routine protocol like it was any other report, which it was clearly not.
Well, as far as giving it to the Prime Minister is concerned, I think there's some sort of impression which has been gaining ground that there was a breach of protocol. Nothing of the kind. In fact, Chief Justice Verma indicated to the officers of the Home Ministry that having held the office of a Chief Justice of India, he would address a communication only to the Prime Minister of India. We had absolutely no response from the side of the government.
Like, you mean there was silence?
There was silence, and to be fair to the Prime Minister, I don't even know whether he got to receive this information. Then afterwards, I think there was a message suggesting that Justice Verma should go to the office of the Home Minister and offer the report. And Justice Verma, again, consistent with a previous precedent when he was a judge who was inquiring into the lapses of security which led to the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, said that that is also not the precedent followed, in which event it is presented to somebody in the Home Ministry by a senior officer of the committee, and which in our case was really the counsel for the committee. Then we were told that somebody from the Home Ministry of the rank of a secretary to the Government of India would be coming and receiving the report. So accordingly we assembled. Anyway, be that as it may, a joint secretary turned up, it's all right.
But listening to you, what
Yes.
I'm hearing is that familiar miles of red tape that unfortunately weigh our system down. Wouldn't it have been better, more symbolic, had the Prime Minister received this report?
Well, I mean, to give the benefit of doubt, I think, to the Prime Minister, I don't know whether he was fully apprised in the first place. So we hardly, we didn't worry about this. As long as we gave the report to a person for onward transmission to the Prime Minister, our job was complete. I want to make it clear that we are not pessimistic as yet. After all, the government, knowing that there were 3 independent and somewhat robust personalities, obviously knew what the report was likely to be. And we also made it clear to the government that we are not going to take even a 24-hour extension. So we wanted to actually, sort of demonstrate it by preponing it by 24 hours so that it is a record time within which we could give this report. We felt we owed it to the people of India to give our answers in as clear, as tangible, and as empirical terms as possible.
Well, let's start with something, Justice Leela Seth, that your report looks at, that for far too long, not just our lawmakers, but we as a people have looked away from. The issue of marital rape. And your report talks about how, in a sense, this notion that somehow what goes on between a husband and a wife should be exempt from law goes back to an archaic idea that when a woman marries a man, she is his property.
Most people think that once you get married, consent is presumed. The fact that you're married, that means you can have sex with your wife whenever and however you like to have it. And that's not true. That's not true for a woman's body. That's not true for a woman's identity. When she gets married, she doesn't become his chattel. So it's very clear that she must have the right to consent at each occasion when sex is demanded from a man. I mean, if she wants sex, then she can also ask for it. But the question is, it should be consent on both sides.
And how do you foresee this suggestion of yours being accepted by a culture that is politically conservative? And I say that because although your report, and this has been so heartening for so many people, acknowledges, for example, the freedom of people to choose their sexual orientation, we are still not in a country where homosexuality has been decriminalized. We are in that politically conservative a culture. Now, in that culture, do you foresee your suggestion that marital rape can no longer be exempt from the eye of the law, something that you believe our lawmakers will accept?
Well, I mean, it's our recommendation.
Yes.
We hope they will accept our recommendation. The thing is that marital rape in other countries has also come in 1991, I think, in England, and thereafter
yes.
in other countries. Yeah. But earlier, there also it was thought that women were chattel. Women were the property of the man.
Yeah.
But slowly it has come in other countries, so I don't see why it shouldn't come in. Why should a woman be abused or disabused over and over again if she doesn't want it?
Absolutely.
I mean, she must have a right to say so.
Now, the new bill, which will of course be open to changes, that has been introduced in the Lok Sabha, Gopal Subramaniam, does not acknowledge marital rape. And at the moment, under the law, the relationship is only recognized as marital rape if a girl is under 15. Now, your report talks about how marital rape must not be treated with leniency compared to other kinds of rape. That there could be a tendency in a judge to say, this is between a husband and wife. And I think that the time has come to assert the autonomy of women over their own bodies.
I wish to share with the audience that this really is the way we went into this entire task. We began with rape, but then what we did was we had a construct of a rape victim, an accused, and the protector, the so-called law enforcer in between. Then we looked at all the aspects of attack on the victim, the trauma, the suffering, the need for rehabilitation, and we correlated it to different constitutional rights. And then we realized that in respect of an attack of rape on a woman, it is not simply a crime, it's not simply an offense against, let us say, the human body. It is in a certain sense targeted because of the gender. There is also a simultaneous negation, shall we say, of constitutional rights, which, according to us, and which is the theme of this entire report, is about the autonomy of the woman in respect of her body. Rape, therefore, then becomes a symbolic, shall we say, subjugation, but it is also a constitutional overpowering which we felt we had to correct.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.